Hey guys, what's up? This is JRP77 from JGM Games, and we're back with another tutorial. So in the last one, we created the player stat script, which basically allows us so that when we run into the enemy over and over and over again, then it pops up dead. I'll highlight that using the editing magic that I normally do. So this time we actually need to have a way for our player to fight back. Now, a couple people are actually requesting that we do a melee weapon, and so that's what I've done today. A lot of the tutorials I looked up because I was trying to research this because I actually have never made a melee weapon before, were really long. They're about 50 minutes long, and I felt like they were way too over the top, I guess. So today we are going to be making a very, very basic melee weapon. It's not going to have any animations or anything like that, but it's just going to be a very simple mechanics. I promise you, we will get to animation and mechanics later. I mean, not mechanics, animation and modeling later. Alright, so first of all, let's go ahead and we need to go ahead and give our enemy some health. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select the enemy object, and I'm going to go to add component, and I'm just going to create a new script called enemy stats. This is where we are going to create all of our health and stuff. So this is where he's going to have ammo and all his stats that define who he is as an enemy. And this is going to be very useful when we get into like different enemy types, so that we can set one enemy for one thing and another enemy have different stats. Like one could be faster or one could be slower. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag this in because I'm a real stickler for being organized. So I'm going to open up the enemy stats script. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to delete everything in the script as usual. And we only need to make one variable, and we're going to that's going to be a public int called health. Alright, so now we need to create a public void. This is going to be a public function. I think we've done this before in a previous tutorial. We're going to call this hit. Now inside of here, we're going to create an int called damage. This is so that our function that we're about to make for our player can pass damage into here. This is useful if you're creating an inventory or something like that, where the player does something or has one weapon and he does like 5 damage, but then he upgrades his weapon and he gets like 10 damage or something like that. And it's very useful to be able to do something like this. All we're basically giving this function is a parameter so that it can pass this variable in rather than make another variable and have to set it. So we're going to open this function up, and inside of here, we're just going to write health, I'm in all caps, health minus equals damage. This is just going to subtract the damage that we pass in from the health. So what we're going to do is we're going to debug.log his health, and this is just going to print what his health is to the console. Now because we want this to stand out, I'm going to say enemy health. I cannot type today, I do not know why. Colon space, so that there's a separation, and then after the quotation mark we're going to add plus health dot toString. This will just print out whatever we write here. Alright, now we also want our enemy to disappear after he dies, so we're going to create a void update, and inside update we're going to check to see if his health is less than or equal to 0, and then if the health is less than or equal to 0, we're going to use destroy and then lowercase g game object. Basically, all this is going to do is when this function is triggered, the damage is going to be subtracted from the health, and it's going to log what health the enemy is currently at. Then we have this: if the health is less than or equal to 0, then it's just going to delete the object from the scene. This makes it easy to know how much health he has less, and if he dies, we know that. So I'm going to save this script, and I'm going to jump back into Unity for our final step. So next, we need to create our weapon. So I'm going to go to the main camera and go to Game Object, Create Empty Child. Now I'm going to call this weapon right now, and later we'll add on an object, but for now, we're just going to be using this. I'm going to position this, I've already done this before in advance, so I'm going to position this at 0.05, -0.08, and 1.65. When I was preparing this, I already knew where I want it to be, so I've already got mine set up. Then on here, we're going to create a new box collider. So I'm just going to type in box collider. We're going to set is trigger to true, and for size, I'm going to set 2, 1.4, and 1. This will just give us a little box in front that allows us, and I thought it kind of fit how long a melee weapon would be. We could probably make it a bit longer. Alright, so now that we have that, we need to create a script for this. This should be all set up. I'm going to create a new script, and this is going to be called melee, and this is going to be a C# script, Now I'm going to double click to open this. Before I do that though, just need to drag this into my scripts folder. So I'm going to double click to open up the melee weapon script. Now on here we need to create a couple variables. We need to create a button that our player hits so that whenever he hits the button, then it triggers the attack function. So I'm going to create a new public key code called attack button. And then I'm going to create another public int called damage. Now we need to create a function called onTriggerStay. It's basically the same as onTriggerEnter, except whenever the player stays inside there, then that's when it hits. OnTriggerEnter is whenever it's just like a bump, but this is more like if you actually like stayed inside of a room or something. So I'm going to create a void onTriggerStay, and inside of the parentheses I'm going to create a collider col like you normally would. Now inside of here we need to check to see if the button was pressed. So what we're going to say is we're going to say if input dot get key down attack button inside the parentheses, and then we're going to open this up, and we are going to say, and we also need to check to make sure that the thing that we hit has the component that we want. So we're going to type in if col dot get component enemy stats. The script we just made a couple seconds ago, or a couple minutes ago, I guess. This prevents us from having to do a tag. So as long as the enemy has this component on here, it doesn't matter what's going on because we already have. It just needs to have this component. So that means we can tag some enemies differently and some enemies like this. So on here, we just need to say one thing. We need to or a couple of things actually. So in here, we just need to say a couple lines of code. So all we need to do is say a couple lines of code. Basically, all we need to say, first of all, we need to, so first, we need to get the enemy stats component and assign it to a variable. So I'm going to create a new enemy stats variable called stats. I'm going to set it equal to col dot get component enemy stats. Parentheses at the end so this works. Basically, this was just checking to see if it had it. This is assigning it to a variable that we can mess with. Then what we're going to do is we're going to say stats.hit. And now inside of here, you'll notice that it tells us that we need a damage. We need to have a damage. So we're just going to type in damage right here. Alrighty, so now that we've got this, I'm going to save the script. I already noticed that I have an error from when I deleted something earlier. I'm just going to set that like that, and then we should have all of our compiler errors fixed. So I'm going to jump back into Unity. Shouldn't have any errors. What we're going to do now is we're going to make sure that this is assigned. I'm going to set the health to 15, and then I'm going to set damage to 5. So it should take 3 hits to successfully destroy it. Also for attack button, this is where we have all of our keys that you can use. So I'm going to use, sometimes you can search like for shift, I believe you can search. No, you can't do it. Never mind. Basically, I'm just going to go to attack button, and I'm going to set it. I got to scroll down a long ways because it's a mouse button. Basically, all we're going to do is we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom where we have the mouses. I'm going to select mouse 0. If you've done anything with key binding, you'll know that mouse 0 is left click, mouse 1 is right click, and then you've got like mouse 4 and 5 is your page up, page down, and then you've got mouse 3, I believe, is your scroll wheel click. And so basically all we're setting it to is our left mouse click. You can always use the input.get button fire 1 or whatever. I do not like using buttons because it's so much easier to just go ahead and set a variable like right here than it is to go into the button settings that you have to do in like your player prefs or whatever. So now that we have this, I'm just gonna hit play, and I'm gonna try to highlight the console right here. And if I run up and I hit him, now that I'm gonna pause it real quick so that you can see the collider is all the way in to the enemy, so it can tell that there's a collision occurring there. And you'll notice already at the bottom we have enemy health is equal to 10. Click again, 5, 0, boom, he's gone, just like that. And so that basically is a melee weapon. He can't attack from range. If I start this over again, from back here he can't hit anybody, but you have to get up close and personal and then you can destroy him. Now, obviously, that's not how a complete melee weapon would work. You would have to have a delay or something, but that's just a very simple melee weapon that you can make in your game. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If this video sucked, you know what to do, but if it didn't, drop a like and don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss a tutorial. Don't forget to check out our website, social media, and merch, as well as join our Discord server. All of those links will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.